Hello, everybody. It's your boy, recklessray, and we're back at it again. It is Sunday, December 11th, and what you're seeing on the screen is the 2023 portfolio. But before we get to that, shout out to the bag chasers. Get the housekeeping, not homework, out of the way. As you all know, the bag chasers will be getting this first, so shout out to you guys. You will be getting it 72 hours before at the earliest before anybody else does. Hope you guys are enjoying the updates. For those of you just joining, this is a especially good time because we're just starting the year off, and as you can see, this portfolio is very boring. But what are the bag chasers? The bag chasers are a Patreon group that I am a part of, a community that I am a part of. It is not my group. It is a group that I am a part of. The group belongs to Anton Daniels of AntonDaniels.com. The link for that is down in the description. So we can, if you want to get access to me, that's probably the best way to do it. You can also drop comments down below the video. In the comment section, I do answer and check those, and a comment that can be carried over to the next show, we're going to be adding a Q&A piece to this show. Moving forward, obviously, this is not financial advice. This video is just for entertainment purposes, but you are getting to be entertained as I either make or lose horrible amounts of money this year. So what we're doing is finishing out. I finished out my position. I was going to do half positions and then switch off to make it a little bit more dollar cost averagey and interesting for me, but I historically have made a lot of mistakes tricking my money off in the market. And what that means is I'll go after the more interesting, fun, higher APR potential gains versus thinking out and actually setting up my own foundation, which is what I suggest everybody else does. And after last year's fiasco, I am not looking to repeat that process, so I'm actually finishing out the positions before I start the next one. So as you can see, my little gambling round off here got completely rounded off. It is 1% basically. I took down my second yield farm. I actually went through the process of getting everything converted over to Ethereum and then deposited in one of the vaults over on Alchemix and took out my first loan to disseminate back into the market. So that's how I finished this position off. It was an interesting process. Wasn't too hard. Took a little bit of something to figure out. Just note to people who are looking at replicating my strategy there and using Alchemix to force themselves to stockpile Ethereum. You cannot pull out AUSD. You can only pull out their synthetic version of Ethereum as far as the loan goes. So you deposit Ethereum and then they'll give you the loan in Ethereum as well. So I went through that process, got everything shifted over. I actually, which will be coming up towards the end of the show, had an experience the other night where I almost misplaced, I guess, $1,000, which isn't unnormal for me. I generally lose due to misplacement. I'm doing finger quotes on that. Anywhere from $500 to $3,000 every year due to just negligent errors out in the DeFi space. And if you send your stuff to a black hole, it is gone. So I almost did that last night, but didn't. Had a really interesting customer service experience, but I do want to talk about one of the tools that I use, and I've never used a decentralized platforms help section, but I'm never going to do it again, probably. So anyways, we did that. After I got the position done, I started exploring, because what happens is when you stake on Synthetics, so we've moved the screen over to the Synthetics page. The reason I like this, so it did fall into my metrics it's on the bottom end now because of the way that I'm doing it, because you'll see that this has Ethereum and Optimism, which is an Ethereum layer 2 that I am also active on. I went and did some research on the Optimism side of things, and the transaction fees are so much less expensive that even with the lower APR, with this position hitting basically the bottom of what I want my active positions to have. Actually, it's not the bottom, it's boringly low for me. It's not boringly low for a lot of people, but it's boringly low for me. But I did get that position done. So I moved it over to Optimism, finished out the position, got it restaked. And when you stake this, what you're doing is you're staking, and they give you a synthetic asset in place as like a marker for your staking, and you cash that synthetic asset back in to unstake. So what I did was I was looking, and there's a couple of interesting things that I found. So like they have all these SUSD utilities, which is what they give you. So basically you're staking and taking out a synthetics loan, basically. And you get interest on what you have staked. So with this, they have a few different tools down here. So I started looking through the tools, and I found it a couple of them pretty interesting. So you have Quetta, which trades commodities, forex, crypto, and more up to 25x leverage. So this is leverage trading. Did not mess with that. A little bit too degen for me. D-Hedge, though, we're going to crack this open. So D-Hedge, you can actually go in and invest in other people and have other people manage your portfolios. So these are managed portfolios, and they do managed portfolio positions. And you basically can deposit your synthetic USD that they issue you into a fund, and then you get to track the whatever that fund does. And like it's basically like they manage it. They have management fees, they have all sorts of interesting stuff, and they give you a pretty robust playpen of stuff to invest in and tools that you can use within the synthetics ecosystem, which is really cool. I'm actually considering spinning one of those up myself, because you can do that. It actually allows you to spin it up, and you get to create your own little ticker symbol for your fund, and then like other people can, add into it and then it's based on your performance, which is pretty cool. I like that. So the reason I'm looking at these tools, first of all, is because, as I've said multiple times, I don't believe in stagnant money. So like just sitting here and having the synthetic USD available sitting around doing nothing, even though the other half of it, because like you need it to like manage the collateral, which is a piece of this, so it's a little bit more complicated than just stake and walk away. But I still don't want all of it just loose sitting there doing nothing. So I'm looking for something that I can do to like make a little bit of additional income. So D-Hedge was a cool one. Lyra is really cool too. It's an options trading facility, so you can go long or short Bitcoin or Ethereum, which I thought was pretty cool. They also have some vaults in here that you can get in, which is cool also. So like they have variable APR rates, providing SUSD for these pools. So that was something that also piqued my interest, because like this, so the thing that I want to go back to here is the reason I'm looking at this is because this is a long-term position. So this is going to be sitting here most of the year up until the bull run. And then even after the bull run, I'm only selling down my position to 250 tokens. So for reference, the position that I outlined for myself for this year was 1,000 synthetic tokens rolling into the bull run. Pretty much borderline what I did the last time that I did a run off this, and synthetics was one of my best performers the last bull run that we had. Like, I got into it pretty early thanks to one of the guys in my group, in my not the Patreon group, but like I have another investment group that are people that I met when I first started, and we have like our own back channel group for us basically. And he put me on it, and this thing did probably about, I'd say, somewhere between 30 and 50x, which you can do those multiples. But we got in really early. He beat me over the head about it. I got in when it was well sub $1, and it was well over $1 when we started eating off this position. So unfortunately, that bull run I did sell completely out of the position. I didn't think to keep a hold of it, which I wish I did, because it would have kept it on my radar so I could have bought more during the dips. But it's what it is. Past is the past. But we're looking, now that we're rolling back into the next bull run, which is the Bitcoin halving cycle bull run. This is, from what I've experienced, the place your bets season, and synthetics has been a staple in the back end of the market. It's been utilized. I have used it. I've used other versions of it on other chains, and so I'm back in. Like they've made it interesting enough for me to see if we can ride that wave one more time. I don't know that it'll do another 50, but I could definitely see it doing an easy 3, in my opinion. So that's the play that I'm making. But since I'm going to be looking at holding this for about a year, I need something to do with those synthetic dollars that it has kicked out at me. So Lyra was another good option that I'm looking at. I just don't know enough about trading options to pull the trigger on this with any of those funds, because the other thing that I'm not looking to do is lose them, because then the only way that you can unstake is to convert those dollars back to pay back to get your collateral. So I don't want to do that. So we're not doing that. But that aside, this does seem like a very polished platform. It's pretty straightforward. If I understood how options worked better, I probably would have thrown a couple of hundred on here to just mess around with, to see if I could make some plays without losing too much and protect my downside. It's just I don't know how to protect my downside over here. So I'm not looking at anything beyond their vaults, because the vaults are pretty set and forget, which might be where I'm starting with this. Because, I mean, even if we're just sitting here for a little bit, getting a little something's better than nothing, because that also adds to how much synthetic ETH I can pull out, because I'll have extra dollars with which to refund that loan. So moving back, there's Lyra, there's Thalys. Now I actually have some coins from the Thalys airdrop, and I still have them. Like, I never sold them. I did not stake them either, which, it's what it is. Not my smartest play, but I never got rid of them. But it's interesting. So this is kind of you're taking bets on the market. And so, like, you can bet up or down. It's a little bit degen, but they have a couple. So, like, they have range, they have markets, ranged markets, and then they have vaults. And so their vaults are what I was looking at. And so they have a few different strategies. I'm probably going to throw a little bit of money on here just to see how this works. like it's very degen, but it's very, very dumbed down so that someone such as myself who doesn't do degen can, get in here and see what it does. I'm probably going to go ahead and use my referral link. It'll be down here for the Thalys referrals and like, most of these I only recommend doing on layer 2. Like, if you're doing a lot of interacting with the chain, unless you're staking a lot of money. Because, like, it just gets so expensive to spend $14 to remove $6. Like, you're just running negative there. But yeah, it's got some pretty interesting stuff, so I'm probably going to put a little bit of money over here to out of those synths to see if we can get some stuff going. I haven't. The only reason there's not any other tokens on the portfolio right now besides synthetics is because I haven't put my money in the market yet. And so then there's also Curve. There's nothing on Curve on Optimism right now that's even worth looking at. Everything's they have vaults, but they're 0% vaults, and your stuff's just sitting there. So that's pointless. It can just sit in my wallet, and I have control over it for that. The last thing I wanted to show on synthetics that I did find that was awesome is they have a hedging system, which is pretty cool. So what happens is if your collateral goes too far down in value, you have to burn some of those dollars to bring it back up. And so the collateralization has to be 400 or above. They've instituted a system that makes it so that you don't have to go physically burn the stuff. You can buy this derivative token so that if things go in the opposite direction you're wanting it to, which is basically the price goes down on the SNX token, this handles the collateral for you. It over collateralizes your position, so that way you don't have to micromanage the account. So I went ahead and put some money in this yesterday, and just as a little hedge, it's a little slow money, but that way I don't have to really look at it for a little bit should the prices dip. Which I'm totally expecting. There's just volatility. It's what happens. It dips and then it goes back up, and then you're over collateralized, and it's good time. So that pretty much sums up the portfolio. But what I was saying was I haven't gotten my my salary money added in yet. But since this position's done, now we're going to be building out the next positions, and I'm kind of of the opinion at this point that I might do all the boring stuff first. I kind of feel good that this is done. I got to check something off my list, and I have a couple of quick hits that are just rounding out positions that were from last year, but it's my on-chain staking positions and my platform support positions, because I do believe in supporting the platforms that you utilize. So I'm going to have some Convex and some Curve staked over on Convex because they're within my window. So I will be working on that this year also. But I think I'm probably going to knock out that Curve position and start building up for the first liquidity farm position of 2023. So with that said, let's hit the news. So the first thing, news-wise, that we've got is, and this is not surprising, but the Bitcoin outflows this week hit a new all-time high, which means that it's people getting Bitcoin and taking it off the platform to either self-custody or do whatever they need to do with it. But what that means is people are not trading as much, they are buying and stocking away. Which, the wealthy people, they've been doing that this whole time. I myself have been doing that this whole time. If I buy Bitcoin specifically to have Bitcoin, and it's not like me moving money into the market, it goes to cold storage. And it's just what you do. That's what you do. You just don't want to leave it on a chain. You don't want to leave any amount of money that you can't afford to lose in any type of centralized platform. I can't say that enough, but I'm not surprised with all the news that they've been releasing about FTX that people are kind of getting the hint, getting themselves a Ledger or a Trezor or one of the other cold storage hardware wallets, and they're putting their stuff away. And that's the smart thing to do. You don't want to be out here getting caught in an FTX collapse. Me personally, I have a little bit more exposure that I have to have because I stake and I'm farming. But outside of that, my Bitcoin was never at risk. My Ethereum that's in cold storage was never at risk. Which, the Ethereum's coming out of cold storage. That's going into an active position this year. That's just what's happening. It's going to go with all the rest of the Ethereum so they can get some work done. And that's just what we're going to do, because there's no reason, in my opinion, to cold storage Ethereum just straight ETH tokens. It's stupid. You can get Lido Stake ETH or any of those stake derivatives and get something for it. If you're cold storaging, just to do it, like, that's insane to me. Like, unless it's something that's accruing in value. So, something to marinate on. Second thing is, Bored Ape Yacht Club. They're able to stake their apes now, which is cool. They finally got their staking functionality, so kudos to those guys. They're already rich. They don't need any more money, but, you know, kudos to them for getting another way to make more money. I'm probably gonna round out my ape coin position because, like, I think that the coin's gonna do well next bull run. So I'm gonna have a little position in that. It's gonna be a slow roller position most likely, unless I can figure out something to do with it. But I'm definitely gonna do that because why not? I might as well already have quite a few tokens. I just need to round out the position of what I was originally going to have, and I'll let it sit there, and I will sell that one as soon as we get a good run on it. But next piece of news: chainlink staking. Chainlink also has staking now. The rate's garbage. I mean, it is not something that is even remotely interesting to me at this point, but since the token will increase in value, this actually also helps secure the network. So it's like, if you're actually in it for the tech, you're at least getting something for doing your chainlink duty and supporting the network. You can actually support the network. I've got quite a few chainlink tokens, but the way that I'm utilizing them, they're staying where they're at. What I am considering doing is adding another 100 or so tokens to my chainlink holding this year. And if I do that, then this is going to be where they end up. It's really cool. Helps support the security of the network. Got a bunch of node validators there. It's pretty straightforward. Connect your wallet, straightforward staking. I'm not 100% sure if it's liquid staking or if there are lockup periods, but I am assuming that that it's probably going to be liquid. I will definitely do a re-up once I find out. So another thing I wanted to share, which is my embarrassment story, also a tool of the trade. So this is for those of you who are venturing out in the DeFi space, this is, if you're not advanced, you can stop the video now, because we're going into the weeds. And by into the weeds, I mean way far into the weeds. Like, this is the weeds, people. So I am not going to really break too much of this down. The assumption is you already know how to connect your hot wallet or hardware wallet to a DApp that's out in the net. You are experienced in using the DeFi space, and yeah, you know what you're doing. So with that said, let's get to it. This is Rango Exchange. I love this thing. So previously, I had a bunch of different bridges that I was using to move chains. So now, literally, the only thing that I need to do, this thing does 50 chains, and it's 50 different chains. So you just connect your wallet. Oh boy. Huh. Okay, I'm going to have to do some research because it's got Bitcoin on there. I might not need to use a centralized exchange for anything any longer, which would be awesome. But that said, this can go straight to the chain that you want. So all my Tendermint chains, Osmosis, Cosmos, Juno, I can trade directly to those chains. You can trade directly to all of these chains. It's super convenient. I love this thing. It's a tool that I've now started using a lot more. Because you pick the chain. So like if you have your wallet, you'd connect it, Binance chain, and you have all the Binance assets. And then you can also load them in by address as well. And you can basically say, for instance, you've got BNB on Binance chain, but you need, let's go to Optimism. You need SNX on Optimism. So you would connect your wallets and put one BNB in there. And so like my wallet's not connected, but I think it'll still go through the process. Yeah, so there you go. And it lines it out for you. So you're going to get 148 and a half SNX tokens for that one BNB. Also, you don't have to take it, send it to a centralized exchange to like parse it over to the correct chain that you're needing. You also don't have to go to a bridge and create an additional transaction. Like you can use this as a straight up exchange, and you can send it to your wallet right where you need it. It is the most useful tool that I've had. So, with that said, let's talk about the mess up that Ray had last night. So when using this, if the networks are busy, so I went Ethereum to Polygon. Well, this last night, so granted, this was about 2 in the morning. I was pretty exhausted. I'd been up, kind of just meandering around waiting for gas fees to go down. And then when they went down, I decided to push this trade through. So what happened was the trade hiccuped. So actually, let's give you guys a little peek at Ray screwing stuff up. So this was basically the trade, actually. So as you can see down here, there are 3, so that's $5. So like that's not bad. That is not bad if you're doing numbers. Like $5 off 1,200 isn't that bad, in my opinion. Like I can stomach this. But you can see there's 3 steps here. So when I process the trade, and I'm not used to waiting long for stuff. That's the other issue of being in the crypto spaces. We don't have patience for anything. So I sat here with my computer out, playing a game on my phone, waiting for this transaction to get done so I could go to bed. And it was like 30 minutes, and so I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so like I'm jockeying between my wallet and the web page, the app, and trying to figure it out. And mind you, this is like $1,000, so like it does matter to me anyway. It's enough to make me feel bad. So about like losing it. So I ended up, there's a cancel function on here that's on the DApp side. So if you're ever using Rango Swap, just understand how this works. So the process is going on chain in my wallet and the blockchain. This is the surface layer GUI that's just showing you what's happening. So when I'd waited too long, I went ahead and I was trying to figure out how to cancel it. And instead of canceling it from my wallet, I clicked the cancel button here. And so the cancel button here, after I clicked it, I'm reading it as it's canceling, and it says on there. They did a really good job of specifying this for dummies like myself and others. Like there's definitely worse people than me out there. That this only stops the steps. It doesn't cancel the transaction. So then, after I clicked cancel, it's finished the step that it was on, which was in the process of going from here to here. But there's 3 steps. So I didn't catch this part of it. Like I'm over there looking for this because it's like, oh, the transaction completed itself. So then I have to use their help function. And this is a decentralized platform. I'm pretty sure there's probably somebody somewhere, but their help section goes to a Telegram group. And so you're just in a room with a bunch of people who also need help. And then there's people who are helping people in there that are like moderators for it. So like I'm pretty sure that they're involved with the business because like you click this link and it pops up a Telegram window. Well, I get in there and like there's like a bunch of different people in the chat, and they're like, if somebody DMs you, just block them. And so like I start talking, and then I'm talking to one of the people that was posing as one of the moderators, and they sent me to this website, and this is a good cautionary tale. So I go to the website, and it's like, yeah, that'll help you retrieve your funds. And I'm like, okay, because I looked it up, and like I know how to go look at like the contract, the transaction, and see where it's sitting. And so like at the time that I looked, it was still sitting in a smart contract. So I'm like, well, that's not a wallet. So I just went back and I'm like, cool, here's the I gave them the transaction ID, and they're like, yeah, you need to go to this website and it'll take you through the process of getting your stuff. Now, so the first red flag here is they sent me to a website. Most places will not do that. Actually, no places will. Anytime I've ever had an issue that was a transaction issue, I've never had to go to another website to go alleviate it, like as though I'm going to fix it. Like if it's a back end issue, then somebody on the back end of whatever platform it is fixes it. So that was the first red flag, but I was like, you know what? It's 2 a.m. I'm kind of not thinking. So I'm like, I'm game. Like, I'll go take a look at the website. Let's see what's up. So they're like, yeah, you go to this website and you connect your wallet, and then it'll help you finish out force the transaction so that it'll go to where the wallet where you need it to go. Okay. So I click the connect button. As you can see on this page, there's a connect button. Every D app that you interact with will have this button. The issue was when I clicked this button, it did something that's never done. So like normally you click this button and it's gonna, actually we can go ahead and click it because it won't matter. So you click this button and look, it pops up. What wallet do you want? And so these are all the wallets that you can connect to this site. A bunch of them will be different. Most of them will have this one. Most of them will have, actually I'm going to say all of them will have this. And now that Brave has their own wallet, a bunch of them will have this. Everything else is question 2. Coinbase wallet also shows up a bunch of places. But if you're using a hot wallet, I would just not recommend Coinbase personally. It's just don't support the monsters, please. Like there's no, also MetaMask connects to the most stuff natively. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like they're the 8,000 pound gorilla. They connect to damn near everything. Wallet Connect makes it so that you can connect a wallet from your phone. So like if you click Wallet Connect, it pops up a QR code, you scan it from the wallet in your phone, and you can connect that way. If you're exclusively on mobile and then for some reason on a desktop. But you click this and it just connects the wallet and you're done. Like there's like a transaction where it's like, hey, do you approve connecting to this? That'll pop up from your wallet and you click yes and it's done. When I clicked that button, it didn't pop up this screen. It did a pop-up like this, but it was like it wanted your first name, your last name, your email address, and your seed phrase for your wallet. You never give anyone your seed phrase for your wallet. Ever. 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 No matter what they tell you. Ever. Giving your seed phrase for your wallet is the equivalent of letting someone come into your house and then you give them the title and the deed to your house. They're going to take, like, you're just getting robbed. They're going to take your stuff. So then, like, now I'm, like, mad. And so, like, I argue with this person via chat. And they're like telling me stuff like, oh, and just so you know, these people will try to convince you to give them your seed phrase. They're like, oh, well, they don't track that. It's not something that they keep. They just need it so that you can access the blockchain. And I'm like, I've been doing this for 10 years. You don't give anyone your seed phrase for anything. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, nowhere needs that. Ever. Well, it's not stored. I'm like, yeah, but it's not needed. Ever. So I'm gonna hard pass on this. Like, you're trying to rip me off. And that was basically the end of that conversation. And then I got a hold of the person that I needed to talk to. And they were like, they looked at the transaction ID. They were like, check your wallet now. And so, like, I went and checked my wallet. Sure enough, the Ethereum was there. Thank God. And my panic attack was over. But it was interesting because, like, I mean, I've been doing it for a decade. And I'm like, if I wasn't thinking or paying attention or inebriated or any of the other facets of things that you could be at 2 a.m, I could have easily put my seed phrase in there. Like, that's one of those things where not only are you giving them, would they have your seed phrase, they'd have your first, last name, and email address, which means that, like, they could probably backtrack you to some other stuff. So it's just one of those things. You got to always keep your guard up. Like, that's not this site's file. It's a decentralized bridge that exchanges cross bridge. Like, this is the DeFi space, and like, these are the things that happen out here. And the reason that like not everybody's competent enough to be out here doing the stuff that everybody else is doing, because like, you are responsible for yourself. If I would have gave them that seed phrase and they emptied that wallet out, that's on me. That's not this exchange's fault. That's not anyone's fault but my own for being dumb. And, you know, this is one of those things where it's like bleeding edge. There isn't a whole lot of regulation out here. I personally am for it. Like, it's the Wild West, and we like it that way. Like, the only people you hear complaining are these stupid old dinosaurs who are going out here doing dumb stuff or getting caught up in dumb stuff and not willing to take the licks. Like, the fact that you've got these people crying over some of these collapses that have more wealth than I'll probably ever see, and they're crying that we need regulations because they lost some money that, like, realistically wasn't even close to in ratio of how much money I lost, and they're going, oh, somebody needs to come in here and fix this, and it's not my fault. And it's like, dude, like, it's all of our faults. Like, we were involved in it. Like, that was our money. You put it there. It's super sad to see people who have, well, what people like myself are trying to build, crying because they went into a space where they knew there were no rules, basically, and then they were like, hey, risk reward, there's no rules, we make more money, or we have the potential to generate more wealth, we have the potential to catch more specific wins. And then when they don't win, or they get caught up being greedy with the rest of us, like a human, then it's somebody else's fault and somebody needs to come regulate this. And it's like, no, like, you just need to not be in this space. Like, this isn't for everybody. And like, there's plenty of other YouTubers out there that literally consistently talk trash on this space. And you know what? More power to them. But I'm just happy that they're at least scared enough to not be out here. Because like, it'd probably be worse if they were. Because, no offense, those dudes are also old dinosaurs. And you know, like, props to you that like you're partway in the waters. But like, don't chastise those of us who are knowledgeably out here doing what we're doing because you're too dumb to do it. Like, you don't get it. Or, like, you can't take the L's. Like, which is fine. Like, we take L's. Like, they're going to happen. But this was a joyful story because it wasn't an L. It was almost an L. So I figured that would share some value. Plus, if you're in the DeFi space, this is so far. And, like, granted, if I use something and it works, I kind of don't mess with it. But so far, this is the best way to move coins. And, like, now that I've seen that they've got, on the chains here, they've got the Bitcoin chain, I might have to set myself up another wallet that can house that, because then I won't have to go places. I won't have to go to exchange at all, which would be pretty nice. And the fees are low. So yeah, we're gonna have to do some research on that. Oh, buddy. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to reset up a new wallet to do some things, because if I can make that work, then I don't have to use the exchange anymore at all. Period. That'd be nice. So I'm going to do some more research. I'm going to check back. We're going to probably do a test run with some Bitcoin, because these fees are pretty low to get it over to Optimism. And, you know, we might be onto something here. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited about this. So, in closing, I'm trying to get better at self-promotion. For those of you who are subscribed, you're going to see that I'm going to start doing a bunch more posts. I will be doing post bombs /floods. I am starting to play around with the clips from some of the panels that I'm on, so it's not necessarily always going to be finance. Because every once in a while I get to be on the radio and do stuff like that. So I'm going to start doing some clips and promoting some of that stuff as well. Some of the other things you might want to look for coming in 2023, I will be doing a book report. It's going to be an in-depth and application book report. It's not going to be the normal... Actually, it is going to be a normal book review. I ain't going to lie. I'm not special. But the focus for that is going to be going in depth on these books and then pulling things that are applicable and then applying them. So every time I normally read a book a month at minimum. Normally, I'd say some months I could squeeze in 2 or 3, but normally I shoot for 1 a month. So that's 12 books a year. Granted, the first 3 or 4 books I read every year. So like I have 4 books that I read every year. Like they're ingrained in my psyche. So those are refreshers to like reset the year. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to probably dive deep. I'll have notes, talking points, and I'm going to talk about the book, obviously, give an overview. And then I'm going to take something applicable from the book, which is actually going to make me more conscious about the books that I'm ingesting that you can actually apply in your life. So I'm going to have, hopefully, most likely, actually I'm going to say definitely, 12 books minimum with something that's applied, but there's also going to be a follow-up for each book where I track whatever that thing is. So it might actually be 6 books, because like I might do these in 4-week stints to see like what the applicable thing is, and then 4 weeks of actually applying it, and then a follow-up to the book to see how it worked. That's what I'm going to do. So there's going to be that. There's going to be some live streaming stuff that I'm going to do. We're going to have at least one a week, which will mean I'll be live streaming 2 days a week. Right now we're looking at, it'll probably be something like a Sunday. I'm going to block off my evenings, and we're going to rock out on Sundays. So that's going to be an open panel. We'll be talking about whatever comes up. And it's going to be pretty interesting because I have a broad spectrum of things that I talk about. So we're looking at doing some of those things coming up. Those of you who watch me and are over here from the live streams, you will note that the branding is going to be better. You're going to note the thumbnails for this segment is going to be better. I'm going to get some thumbnails set up for, obviously, the book report channel. We're going to be doing some fun stuff. So, like, definitely check it out. I think you're going to notice some changes. All of them should be good. It's just going to be, like, cosmetic upgrades. Upgrade to the studio. Like, I'm starting to build out a little miniature studio, which means I've got to clean out some things and rearrange some things so that I can get this set up the way that I want. But, all good things. We're looking forward. And, there's no looking back. We're going full steam ahead. So I hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope you did not fumble the bag. I did not fumble the bag. I hope everyone's Christmas shopping's done. I went to go to a store that I like to go to just meander around, and it was an absolute nightmare today. Like, these people who are just like waiting to get their stuff done. Oh, it's insane. It's disgustingly insane. But with that said, like, everybody's got their own vibe, and I'm just not for that waiting in line for an hour or more to like check out. I just can't do it. No. So anyways, in closing, I hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope you did not fumble the bag. For those of you looking to support, you can like, subscribe, share this with your friends, share this with your family, share this with anyone who likes talking about the stuff we like talking about. There are also links. I've got a few referral links down there. You get something, I get something. You know how that goes. They're all clearly defined. Also, if you want to support the channel further, there's a CashApp down there. That's cool. But namely, right now, what we're looking at is liking, subscribing, commenting, interacting with the comment. That pushes it out into the algorithm so that more people can see it and hopefully join our tribe over here. And yeah, so again, let's make all the things that we need to get in place, get all your planning done, get all your resolutions written out. We're looking at 2023 being a catalyst year. I believe that it's going to be a catalyst year for a lot of people. And it's going to be the start of making every year the best year of your life. This is Reckless Ray De Niro, signing off.